Madam Chair, I don't think right now is the time to do that. I think, why don't we take this time, this next month before May. We just got that report that was done on GIS. I would like to be able to talk with Mr. Brandt as well as talk with the assessor about the cartography positions as well, and his CAFA grant, and you know, I mean, their GIS is included in there, and so there's. I think we need to do a little homework before we make any major shift at this point. So I think we'd be better off. I mean, looking at that suggestion and others, but not doing it here at this time and waiting until May to do it, because we're cutting one position. That's not going to happen until July, I'm assuming. So let's take the time to make sure we put it in the right place, and we have the CAFA grant on it impacted, and we have every, we know where we're going with the whole project here.
Well, that's a possibility.
It matters though for the CAFA grant where it's located. I don't think that really matters for the CAFA grant.
I'm sorry. I really think that the issue of the cartographers is separate.
I don't think it is. I don't think it is. If you look at that report, it talks about potentially having the ability to reduce a cartographer as well, which would impact Scott's budget too. So I think, we need to look at the whole system and see what we're doing without, I think we just got that report. We're rushing it. I think it's good to throw it out there and, throw it out in the open, but I think we need, before we say, let's move the one GIS analyst to planning, frankly, I would like to talk with the planner about that, the planning director about that, and also like to talk with Scott about that as well. So,
well, our administrator has talked to Mike about it.
I am Mike's liaison.
And you haven't talked to him?
No, not about having the GIS analyst move there. Laura has spoken with him, but Mike reports directly to me, if you remember.
Well, he reports to the board.
But I am his liaison. He does report to the board.
Yes, let's be clear about that.
Right.
So,
you're right.
Yeah.
But
Well,
what's the rush? I guess
we have
that we discuss further the issue of the cartographers and the plan with the assessor's office, and potentially making changes in that department between now and May.
All right, I'll accept that. Although I think it could have just been totally separate. So I'll accept that as a friendly amendment to my motion.
All right. So do you want to argue some more?
No, you can call. I will, when it's time to discuss, I will.
Okay. All right. So is there further discussion?
Yes, there is. Have you sat down with Murray and Laura and talked about this change? I haven't talked with Mike. I haven't talked with Scott. One of the recommendations from that report talks about combining GIS and the cartographers. We haven't, I don't understand why there's a rush of 1 month. We can do it in 2 weeks, and we can have the information in for the budget presentation in May. It may end up being exactly what you're recommending right now, but there's no, without looking at the big picture, it just doesn't make any sense to me that we are pushing ahead with this without looking at all the recommendations that came from that GIS report, and without talking with all the department heads involved.
Well, typically, okay, so the options that I saw in that report were that we could eliminate GIS,
right?
That we could move GIS, that we could downsize GIS, that we could downsize cartography, or that we could move GIS into the assessor's office. Typically, this board has not chosen to move positions that are under our control into the control of another elected official. And
okay, so let's do it because it's typical. Let's not bother to look at the functionality of an entire system.
Commissioner Stern, some of us have been looking at this for years. You perhaps have not, but I, for one, I have looked at this for a long time, and I'm ready to make a decision.
That's good for you. You looked at the report that came out yesterday, and now you're done. Okay, never mind. Go ahead. Go ahead. You're ridiculous. Go ahead. really, this 2 weeks. 2 weeks to sit down and talk with department heads, all and an elected official who will be impacted by this, and you can't do it.
Madam Chair, I'm going to
Commissioner
call.
Stern,
Madam Chair, I'm going to call for
Murray
the
is not a
question.
department head at this point.
Oh, that's right, I'm sorry.
All right, he's under
I'm going to call for the
administrative...
question, Madam Chair. The question has been called for. Thank you.
All right. All in favor of the motion, vote aye. Aye. Motion. All opposed, vote aye.
No.
No. Okay. All right, the motion carries 2 to 1. We will be moving GIS into planning and furthering discussions between the assessor on the cartography issue. Okay. All right. Next, John.